You are listening to the Boss Experience Podcast, a podcast with conversations about business growth, self-development, and maintaining a mindset to achieve business success. My name is Michele Davis, and I am a business strategist and coach, and I am your host. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of the Boss Experience Podcast. My name is Michele Davis, and I'm your host. New episodes of the Boss Experience Podcast return in June 2023. In the meantime, I'm sharing topics with you every Tuesday to help you start an online business that replaces your 9-to-5 income. So this episode is from a pre-recorded audio. And in fact, I'm currently in the middle of a 6-part series where I'm releasing content from my 5-day CEO challenge that I did not too long ago. So if you missed episode 79 and 80, I talked about how you can discover, the things that you're passionate about, the things that you're skilled at, the things you're knowledgeable about, and essentially, tap into your expertise. So I walk you through a process in those 2 episodes. So if you missed those episodes, you definitely want to go back and give those a listen. In this episode, I'm sharing how to take everything you came up with in episode 79 and episode 80 and turn it into a business idea. So grab your pen and paper and take some notes. Make sure after you listen to this episode that you go back and you catch episode 79 and 80 so that you can take everything in. And don't forget to tune in next Tuesday as well. Enjoy the episode. The average person that wants to venture off into entrepreneurship, especially when you're talking about an online entrepreneur and having an online business, they really have no idea what they want to do and what the focus of their business will be. So what tends to happen when people make the decision to start their own business is they end up starting the business that they hear about on social media, that they hear about from wherever. And they rarely will tap into their own strengths or their own skills. And they will also hear on social media how the strengths and the skills they already have are somehow worthless, that they can't, monetize it or make money. Because if you stay on social media long enough, you're going to hear so many things. And so before you can decide to launch a business, you have to really figure out what you're launching. And so what you're launching and what you're starting is super important, because if you focus on what's happening online, what other people are doing, you don't know what their skill level is. You want to start something that's profitable. You want to start off with some credibility. And so if you're starting something new, and there's nothing wrong with if you have an interest in learning something new and doing something different, but you don't want to discount your passions, your expertise, and what you're skilled at, because you will hear online that you can't make money from your expertise. That's the general statement. No one knows what your expertise is, and you have to dig deep, look within, and discover what it is that you want to do first. You seek out people that are going to help you grow in what you already know that you want to do. You want to think about, well, who are you, right? Because you have to identify what you're good at, what you already know. And so you want to think about, what are some of your personal experiences? What are your professional experiences? What skills do you have? What have people told you you're really good at? What do you enjoy doing and have an interest in? Don't discount things that you've already overcome. Things that you've experienced in your childhood that you've overcome, things that you've managed to do successfully in your life. What have you always had an interest of doing more of, or envisioned yourself doing? What is your dream? What are some things that you've mastered and become an expert in? And it doesn't have to be something you went to school for. These are things, as you age and you go throughout your life, you've acquired skills that you may have forgotten or that you may not realize are skills that could actually help someone else. As you're thinking about all these things, you don't want to think about them and have them in your head. So I want you to allow yourself to think freely, to remove the limitations that, you may have when you're putting things on paper. And I want you to remove the idea that you can't do something, or that you weren't really good at it. Don't overthink this process. Allow it to be free flowing. The second step is to link everything to a particular need that people have and how you can help them. So let's say you wrote down that you decided you were going to take control of your diet. You were going to maybe perfect this juicing program or whatever it is that you may have done. I'm just using weight loss as an example, but it could be anything. You can talk about how you can help people. What was your motivation for defining that program? Was it related to a health condition? Did you reverse your numbers if you were diabetic? And I'm not saying that you want to make these claims when you ultimately create a product or a service, but you want to begin to define how you can help people. Then in the third step, you want to refine that list. And so this is the moment where you kind of look at, okay, out of everything that I've done this brain dump, because remember, you didn't filter it. You just kind of released everything that came to mind. In step 3, you're refining everything. So you're looking at this list, you're looking at what you did in step 2, which is link what you came up with in step 1 to actual ways you can help people with that particular skill or knowledge or expertise. Let me ask you a question. How would you feel if you were where you want to be at this stage in your life, both career-wise and financially? I know the last few years have been pretty rough for people, and you may have felt like you're working 40 hours a week only to struggle to pay even your basic bills. Or maybe you were frustrated because you had to miss your kids' extracurricular activities or one of their performances because you had to do something for work. Or maybe you just like to plan a vacation where you don't have to hope and pray for a tax refund or that you win the lotto. I know exactly how you feel. Not too long ago, I made the transition from a lengthy career in nonprofit services to a full-time online coaching business. Hey, my name is Michele Davis, and I help women turn their expertise into an online coaching or consulting business that replaces their 9-to-5 income. And I just created this video sharing 3 things that enabled me to go from a 20-plus year career in nonprofit services to actually replacing my 9-to-5 income with an online coaching business. Just head over to CEOBlueprintAcademy.com. That's CEOBlueprintAcademy.com to watch it now. Okay, back to the show. Refine that list to things that you can see yourself doing. You can envision yourself doing things that you would be excited to wake up every day and do and have as a business. Then there's step 4. You've identified all those things you're interested in. You've linked them to particular things you can help people do in how you can help people. You've refined that list to things you can envision yourself doing and things that you actually enjoy. Now is the time to look at what kind of service you can offer for each of the things that you can see yourself doing. So when you think about your service, you don't want to think of it in like a one-dimensional way. And I think I've talked about this in a previous episode, that you want to think of the services you can provide and ultimately build your services into an offer. You don't have to think of that right now in this moment, but eventually whatever service you create, you want to make sure you're creating an offer. And this is where you're getting out of that framework of just, I'm going to create this single service or this single product. So I just want to put that in there. But for the sake of this exercise, you're going to do a brain dump again and think of all the different services that you can offer for every single skill that you have listed. So I used the example of weight loss before, and I used the example of juicing. Maybe you juice yourself to health, or you can create a course around it where you give one-on-one support and mentorship. You can also create a coaching program, because if you found success, your own success, and you have a pattern of your system working with other people, you can actually create a coaching program around it. And it's very important to have that pattern of doing this for other people. You don't want to hang out a coaching shingle based on something that you did once. You want to make sure you have like a process for people to follow, and you want to make sure that anyone can step into that process and get the same results that you got. So just keep that in mind. And you may be thinking, well, I'm new, and how do I have a repeatable process? We'll get to that in a moment, but you want to make sure that you list the services that you can actually create, and don't allow yourself to overthink this process. Right now, you're just identifying what services you can create, because we'll get to whether or not that should be a service that you kind of run with, or a business that you build out and develop in the next step. But in this step, just think about, what service can you provide? Can it be coaching? Can it be a course? Can it be a group coaching program or a group membership? Like, what is it that you can actually provide? So then you want to take all of that information, and then you want to refine it down to one idea. You want to really, take some time and reflect on your list before you move on, and really get it down to one idea, because at the end of the day, you're launching a business for the first time. You can only kind of roll out with one concept, one idea. You can't do 20 things. Typically, what happens is new entrepreneurs, they hang out their shingle, whether it's a coaching shingle, a consulting shingle, they create a course, and they haven't clearly defined what their process is. So, what is your process for delivering results for people? What is your process for people to really come in to replicate the results that you're teaching them about, right? So you have to have that defined. And so you want to have that defined for one single idea. Because when you launch your business, you want people to come to your website or see you on social media. They need to know you for that thing. Whatever that thing is, that business idea that you've come up with, that is what they need to know you for. What you don't want is to have multiple businesses under one umbrella, and you're expecting prospective customers to make sense of it. So step 5 is really about looking at that single idea that you've come up with and really vetting out that idea for profitability. Because just because you've defined it, you think it's a really good, solid idea, it's something you're really super passionate about, you're knowledgeable about it, you've seen other people make money doing this, that doesn't mean that you will. So you have to really sit back and think, is this profitable? And the way you do that is through market research. The way you do that is testing it with other people. And so one of the things I do anytime I'm launching a new coaching program or service is I want to test my process. So I may start with a small group, and I will run them through the program, because I want to make sure that my timing is effective. I want to make sure that I can do what I say I'm going to do in the 3-month period or the 1-day period or whatever the case may be. I want to make sure that I can accomplish what I say I accomplished. And I want the feedback from real people about their experience in my service. And then I want to take that information and I want to refine it. What I just described is what you would call a beta group. You can use a beta group to test your idea. If you're creating a product, you can actually create a mock-up of the product, and you can allow people to use it, do a test run of it, and allow people to use it and see if that tool actually works. You can also look online and see what is the competition doing, because the thing is, you want to know what's happening in the industry that you want to step into, but you also want to know what gaps can you fill. What are the gaps in the industry? What problems are not being solved? What void are you qualified to fill in that industry? What products or services can you create? So you want to take it from that perspective. And then once you define that, then you want to start creating your products and your services. So thank you for tuning in to that episode. I hope you got tons of value. And be sure to tune in next Tuesday, where I discuss how to take everything you came up with today and turn it into a business plan. So that way you know what direction to take and what action to take to turn this idea into a profitable online business. So don't forget, new episodes of the Boss Experience podcast return in June 2023. In the meantime, stay tuned every Tuesday because I'm releasing bonus content throughout the hiatus period. Take care, and I can't wait for you to join me for another episode of the Boss Experience Podcast. Take care and be well. Thank you for tuning in to the Boss Experience Podcast. Don't forget to leave a review for this episode and tune in next time.